Now, if there's any good that can come out of this current pandemic, perhaps it might be this. This pandemic has clearly revealed for all to see who the most important people are in our society. And the greatest amongst us are not the Hollywood celebrities, the talk show hosts, the news pundits, the sports athletes. Rather, the greatest amongst us are the farmers, the truckers, and grocery store workers. It is those people who have kept working throughout this entire pandemic so that the rest of us could stay home. Hi everyone, I'm Mark Leeming and welcome to the Thursday Bible Brief. If you're new here and you enjoy this video, please do consider subscribing. It would be an honor to have you join us each and every Thursday. Now, it was about a month into the pandemic when I first ventured out to restock on some of the essentials. And I visited my local Walmart. And when I was there, I was looking at the employees all wearing their masks, working so that the rest of us could stay home. And I had to chuckle. Who would have thought that the fate of the entire Western world rested upon the shoulders of undervalued, underpaid Walmart employees? Now, of course, I don't mean that in any demeaning way. For those of you who watch my videos on a regular basis, you will know I come from an agricultural background. I grew up on a dairy farm. And although I'm not involved in the farm as an adult, I've never forgotten my roots. I've never forgotten the vital role that farmers play in feeding everyone else. And just not the farmers though, but also all of those involved in the supply chain, the truckers and the grocery store clerks. Those are the most important people in our society. And yet it's funny, isn't it? It is these people that our culture values the least, and yet they are the greatest amongst us. Now, we read in the Gospels how on numerous occasions the disciples argued amongst themselves as to which one was the greatest. Now, it wasn't as childish as we may think. The disciples, they mistakenly thought that Jesus had come to this earth to establish an earthly physical kingdom. And he would make Israel into this great superpower. And since Jesus naturally would be the king, the most powerful man in the world, well, he would need a right-hand man. And which one of the disciples would Jesus choose? Now, John tells us in his gospel how on the last night that Jesus was alive here on this earth, after supper, he got up from the table, wrapped a towel around his waist, got some water, and began to wash the disciples' feet, something that in Jewish culture only the lowest of all servants was required to do. And yet there you had the greatest amongst humanity willing to do what back then was considered to be one of the most menial of all tasks. And when he was finished, he asked his disciples, "Do you understand what it is that I'm trying to teach you?" And that question is just as relevant for us today as it was to the disciples back then. Who do we consider to be the greatest amongst us? Does a big name preacher immediately come to our minds, or a famous worship leader, a Christian celebrity? We need to make sure that our values line up with God's. If you have just a few minutes more, why not watch one of those other videos of mine over there? If you're watching this via Facebook, I'll put a link to one of those videos in the comment section below. And again, if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. I put out videos just like this every single Thursday. So thanks again, everyone, and I hope to see all of you next Thursday.